Hey everybody, we're here again for another video today, and hockey season is one day away. Tomorrow will be opening night in the NHL. Cannot wait for hockey to start up again. Really, really excited. And as you can see, we've got the great Pearlo Wisdom here, as well as SteelFlyers himself, to talk about what we're most excited about heading into this season. So we're gonna get a kick off the new season tomorrow, and we're all really, really excited about that. So all three of us here are part of the Steel Flyers All Sports Network. You can go to www.steelflyers.com and see all of our work there. We're all really, really excited to have hockey back, and there's going to be a lot of great content coming your way from the Steel Flyers Network. So I want to thank both of these guys for coming on, and really, really appreciate it. And we're going to have some fun here just talking about what we're most excited about heading into this season. Perlo, we will start with you. What are you really looking forward to this year?
I just love the fact that it's interdivision and that teams are going to be playing each other so often.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I'm most excited about. That brings me back to the old days of 12 teams and the divisions and the rivalries that would go on there. I just want to see the hate on this year, really for each other. I want to see guys spitting mad by the end of every game. That is the opportunity we're getting with this COVID type atmosphere that we have and the way we have to do it. But the greatest advantage of that is this. We're going to get Toronto, Montreal over and over and over again, and Pittsburgh, Philadelphia, which we're going to be seeing right away here. That's going to be absolutely fantastic. Calgary, Edmonton, all the great rivalries happening at. There's great rivalries with that are not like you talk about Calgary, Edmonton. Calgary, Vancouver don't like each other all that much either.
Mm-hmm.
So it is going to me, that's my favorite part. And I won't say anything else because it might take somebody else's, but that's my favorite. My favorite right now is just going to be watching the great rivalries that are going to be happening with these new divisions like this.
Can't argue with that, man. First of all, thank you very much for having me. These guys are part of the best people that you could possibly be with. John from Off the Wall Hockey has some of the best content. I can't wait to hear you start calling games again, man. Woo,
Thank
that's
you.
exciting, right? That's what
Oh
I'm looking
yeah.
forward to, right? And Perlo, man, I'll tell you what, we just started doing our show with the NHL Pearlo Wisdom, and we got all kinds of great stuff coming out with that. We're moving to Spreaker now too, so I'll tell you what I'm most excited about this season. The first thing that I'm most excited about this season is seeing the guys on the ice skating up and down. I want to hear the slap of the puck hitting the stick for that pass. I want to
Mm-hmm.
hear the clank of the puck off the crossbar. Right, I want to hear the announcer say left-handed larceny, or I want to hear goal horns, and I just want to see the excitement. Look, I understand there's not going to be fans in the stands, at least in the beginning, for some of the markets. You know what I mean? I get it, but the fact that we have hockey coming back tomorrow, the fact that we're going to have rivalries almost every single night. I mean, to me, that's home run right there. So I'm almost on the same boat there with you, Perlo. I wanna hear the stick with the puck. I want to hear the puck on the clang off the iron. Those are the things that I'm most excited about at first.
Yeah, absolutely, for sure. And definitely agree with both of you. Having the rivalry matchups and the intra-divisional play all season long is going to be fantastic. Getting the atmosphere of a hockey game back is going to be so much fun. This off season has, I don't know if it has for you guys, but it's felt so much longer to me than a regular off season. Even though time-wise it's not that far off, it's just felt like such a long time since the Stanley Cup ended, and it feels like it's been a long time since we've had hockey. I absolutely cannot wait for it to get going again.
It's because
Yeah,
it's a different time.
yeah,
It's
Mhm.
because that normally when we get off season, it's during the summer when nobody
Yep.
cares about what's going on, right? So by now we should already be in the thick of it. Like we
Yeah.
should be jockeying for positions during playoffs right now. You know what
We
I mean?
we'd normally be coming up close to the All-Star break here, halfway through this year.
And not only that, we had a long break. Then we
Mm-hmm.
had these playoffs that were exciting, and that was fantastic. But it was so short,
Yep.
and then it was gone again. It's like, oh my gosh, yeah, it feels like an eternity. Yeah, but I'm also another thing that I'm really looking forward to is seeing how these new prospects that are coming up in the NHL right now. There's so many young prospects that are coming
Ooh,
up in the NHL right now,
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
and I don't know if the NHL has ever been younger than it is right now, and has especially goaltending prospects. My gosh, some of the great goaltenders, like what's Sorokin going to do for the Islanders, and
Mm-hmm.
can Shesterkin keep it going? What kind of levels can Carter Hart make? I almost said Anson Carter. Carter Hart get to this year? Yeah,
Yep.
Samsonov in now Washington and all by himself there pretty much because Lundqvist wasn't able to make it,
Yep.
and I think a lot of the offense that's going to come with these compressed games and tired goaltenders and all of that stuff like that. I'm really excited for that as well.
Awesome. One of the other things that I'm really excited about for the first part of the season, at least, is the teams coming out of the gates.
Mm-hmm.
I'm looking for teams that have had not a lot of turnover on their roster and no coaching changes or anything like that, because I think those teams are going to have a huge advantage over teams that have had a lot of roster moves, teams that have changes coaching, things like that. That first 10 or 15 games, because every single game now is a 4-point swing. Okay. And you come out of the gates and you are 3-7, 2-8, and
Mm-hmm.
those first 10 games, I don't care who you are, that's going to be too big of a hole to climb out of, because you're going to be so deep down
Yep.
at the bottom, and all the other teams that are winning are going to be so far ahead of you that it's going to be tough for you to climb out of that. So that's what I'm most excited to see, is that first week, that first like 10 games of the season.
Yeah, something that I'm absolutely stoked about, and really almost hope that the NHL would consider doing this more beyond just this year, is the almost baseball style series against the same team, where you go to a city and you play two
Oh
or three
yeah.
games in that city, rather than it just
Yeah.
being one off, and you just go there, play, then hop to another city, play. Obviously, with the reduced travel this year, um, I think it's going to be awesome to see the same teams play each other multiple games in a row on a very regular basis, which we do have home and homes in a normal season, but they're few and far between. They're only usually like 4 or 5 times a year. I'd like to see the NHL incorporate that more into the schedule, even in a normal year, just to see the same teams playing each other twice in a row or 3 times in a row. And we're going to be getting a lot of that this year. Most of the sets are 2-game sets, but there's certainly some 3s, even some 4s. And I don't know if this is the only 5, but Anaheim and LA towards the end of the season, I believe it's in April, play each other 5 games in a row at one point. That's going to be like a mini playoff series within the regular season, like with those teams playing so many times. So I am a huge fan of these sets of games with the same teams playing each other, and I can't wait to see, especially those second and third games. We talk about the rivalries and, how mad the players are and how heated the games are going to get. Those second and third games are going to be pretty brutal, and it's going to be fun hockey to watch, especially between the teams with big rivalries against each other. I'm absolutely stoked for that, and really enjoy that concept of seeing the teams play multiple games against each other in a row.
Especially when you get to the end of the season and you've got like a 2-point spread between the teams and they got to
Mm-hmm.
play each other 3 times.
Yep.
That's going to be freaking awesome, man.
Yeah, right.
And most of these are going to be tight. It's going to be tight this year. That's another thing I'm excited about. There's probably not going to be too many teams out of it this year, the
Yep.
way things are. So when we get down to the end there and they're playing like 3 times against each other, and they're only 2 points separate them or 3 points separate them or whatever the case may be. That's I like the way you put it. It's pretty much like the playoffs are starting already.
Mm-hmm.
Um, That's going to be friggin' awesome. I never even thought about that.
We talked about in our show that we did that if it was a regular 82 game season, we would like to see the teams not go and visit every stadium, where we would like to see the games be more like what John was explaining how they're doing it this year, where they play more of the 2 or 3 game sets of games with more of the divisional rival teams, or even just conference division or conference rivals. Instead of sending everybody at a home and home to every stadium in the league, why don't you just do the one game, right, and then switch it off next year, and then we can play more games like what we're doing this year, right? You know what I mean? So
Yeah,
I love that. I think that this is how could you go wrong with that? Because now you're building more rivalry, because now you're seeing the guys every other night.
Yeah.
And not only that, but now in 5 days, you're going to see him again every other night for a couple days.
Yeah.
Right. So each of these series is going to continue for the whole rest of the season.
Yeah.
So, man, by the end of the year, you see those guys for the last 2 or 3 games of the season, that could be ugly.
and then you're in the first 2 rounds of the playoffs. You're also playing within division, so you're gonna play each other 8 times at least, or if you're in the Canadian division, 9 or 10 times in the regular
Yeah.
season. And then one of those opponents that you've just played that many times, 8 to 10 times, you're going to see for an entire playoff series as well. And then for the second round, if you're lucky enough to make it that far, you're going to see another divisional opponent that you played 8 to 10 times for another 7-game playoff series. So it's going to be a lot of the same teams over and over, and it's going to be so much fun. And yeah, I've been a big proponent of more divisional games forever. I could do without the 2 games between Eastern Conference and Western Conference teams. Now, obviously, this is talking about like a normal season. I could do without Boston playing Anaheim twice, or Boston playing Calgary twice. There's just no rivalry there. I'd rather see Toronto or Philadelphia or Pittsburgh more, and see the other side, the other coast, a lot less. That's just I want to see more divisional games, and this year we're getting an entire season of divisional
Well,
games.
you got your wish,
So
huh?
this is exactly what I was hoping for, and gonna be a whole lot of fun for me, because this is gonna be my kind of hockey all year long.
It's going to be fast paced. It's going to be. I mean, I think that guys are chomping at the bit to be out there skating around. Okay, and those first couple of games, boy, woo wee. It's like, and then here's the best thing, and we even touched on this too, is that NBC is putting out so much hockey. Like
Mhm.
last year, they were only putting out 1 or 2 games a week for the national games. Well, now they're putting out 12.
I mean,
Now,
Monday there's 4 games nationally televised in the U.S. just on Monday. You usually didn't have 4 games a week nationally televised in the
that's what I
U.S.
mean.
Now we
Yeah,
have
yeah, yeah.
4 just
4
on
games
Monday.
on one day.
Yep.
So we're going to have a lot more availability to watch hockey, especially like now that maybe you're in the East Coast and Perlo, you're in Canada on the West, and there's other people all over the place. But these are all going to be national games. So that means that everybody's going to get a chance to watch all these teams now. You know what I mean? And so that to me is very exciting. And that one is the other things that I'm looking forward to this year, is that everybody, and even though we're not going to get a chance to, everybody's going to travel to Calgary, or everybody's going to travel to Anaheim, you're still going to get to see it because you're going to watch it on TV.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah, it's definitely going to be a different season. And the other part was the stamina. It's going to be amazing to watch. This is where you really find out the athletes that we have in the NHL and in hockey, because when you're taking this kind of abuse with this many back-to-backs over and over again, it's going to be a war of attrition. Like at the end of the season, there's just the battered players out there on their last legs, just giving everything they got. It's gonna be a
barely
war.
making it back to the bench.
Yeah, it's gonna
Yep.
be war this year. It's absolutely amazing. This is where iconic characters are made in this type of thing. I would recommend that they just keep it like this, honestly. You're going to have so many people, more people watching it, and maybe increase the playoffs or something like that. It'll never happen because 82 games they make more money. But I could see like just to have it be more of a war of attrition to get to the end, even than it ever was before. But that's going to be it's going to be absolutely phenomenal, phenomenal year.
Yeah, I think that's something that pretty much everyone can agree on is that there is a lot to be excited about for this NHL season. And it is going to be incredible to have hockey back on our TV screens come tomorrow night. Um, that's that's going to do it for our time here. But I want to say thank you to Steel and thank you to Pearlo both for coming on. Really, really appreciate it, guys. And a lot to look forward to for sure from the NHL, and a lot to look forward to from all of our channels as hockey season begins and we start putting out more and more content as we go along. Definitely going to want to hit that like button, subscribe to Steel Flyers, subscribe to Perlo Wisdom, and check us all out on www.steelflyers.com. We are all part of the Steel Flyers All Sports Network, and there's going to be a ton of hockey content coming your way. Um, Shows, articles, everything hockey, everything NHL on steelflyers.com. So really appreciate everyone watching. Thank you guys all so much. Remember to hit that like button, subscribe, comment, share. Keep spreading the word about this channel. Keep this thing growing. Keep expanding the reach here. Hopefully grab some new subscribers, and hopefully I'll talk to you guys all very, very soon.